Hi, I'm Josh Bell with the Miami Marlins. I wear NeuroGuard to help with strength and coordination when I'm in the weight room, and help with balance when I'm on the baseball field.
One of the most comfortable, reduces concussion, increases performance. You can't get a mouthpiece like that on the market.
Not only is it a great product, it's super easy to use. I recommend it for any player, any age, at any level. Thank you guys so much, and go check out NeuroGuard Plus.
NeuroGuard mouthpiece makes it easier to breathe while playing basketball. The unique design is not as bulky as any other mouthpiece and makes you feel safe in concussions.
NeuroGuard. They control my breathing while I'm writing. It stops me getting concussions while I wreck. It's very easy to use, so go pick one up today.
I'm still doing stunts. And the concussions I've got, I feel much safer with that. I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a whole lot better in the gym. So NeuroGuard Plus, once this one wears out, you've got a customer for life, because I'm telling you people, NeuroGuard Plus is the way to go, and me, Mark Ash, says so.
Parents, kids, coaches, NeuroGuard. It's the future. Stay tuned.
We all know that Texas weather does not mess around. Whether it's hail, high winds, scorching heat, all of those test your roof. And sometimes your roof fails. And when that happens, you need a local team you can count on. Welcome to Luxury Restoration and Roofing, serving the DFW Metroplex with premium craftsmanship and honest service. With over 16 years in the industry, decades of combined construction experience, and an accredited A+ BBB rating, they deliver top-tier roofing solutions without compromising on quality or breaking the bank. Now, whether you need a quick repair or you need a complete roof replacement, that's what happened here in the studio in 2024, or you want a high-end custom installation, get a hold of Luxury Restoration and Roofing and get the quality, the reliability, and the peace of mind you and your home deserve. So give them a call, 817-228-8611 today for your free estimate. That's 817-228-8611. You can also find them online on Facebook. Just type in Luxury Restoration and Repair and Roofing, and then you can also find them online at luxuryrestorationandroofing.com. All right, it is the week before the football season starts here in Texas. You know what that means, don't you? Big Arse Preview time. Hello, everybody. Terry Bennett here, sideline to sideline, brought to you by L4 Media, as it's time to talk 4A, 3A, and 2A for the 2026 season. If this is the first time you have found us, welcome. We've been doing this for 19 years. Each and every week during the football season, we review the week that was, we preview the week that is, have a lot of fun doing that. And these are our Big Arse Preview shows. Now, what we do is we go through every district in every division of the three classes. We pick our playoff teams. We pick our region champions and basically our state semifinals. And we go ahead and give a state championship as well. But we do not pick every round of the playoffs or try to see who matches up where with the playoffs, because this is all just kind of off the cuff with some research. Now, you can't see me, and you will not be able to see us during the Big Arse Preview Show. These are all audio only with something like right now, it'll probably just be the logo. And for the previews, it'll be the regions that we're talking about. Now, those are two different reasons why. The reason you can't see me now is I'm flipping the studio around to make it easier for me now that most of the shows will only be me in studio with Grant and Kevin at their place, and then me and intern Noah on the Outdrink the Coverage side. We've been doing that mostly for 2 years now. Anyway, he just comes in every once in a while because we like to hang out, and we'll record something. For the preview shows, my production computer has been janky. I didn't want to take it. My laptop doesn't really have the capacity to hold, what actually turned out to be 7 hours of recording that I then chop up. And I just brought my laptop. and we just did audio only. We will be back on video come week 2. And again, that's another thing. It's the first time you've ever checked us out. We do not do a week 1 show because we let the Big Arse Preview shows carry us through that. We also have Coach X. I will read him here in a little bit. I do want to say I apologize if you listen or watch more than one of these. You're going to hear this intro every time. This is just a generic intro to put, in for all the shows. But anyway, here we go. Coach X, once again, we try to act like we're not going to do shows anymore, but he still sends stuff in, and I am obligated under the Geneva Treaty that I have to read whatever he mails in. So for the first time, wait, no, this is the second time. No, wait, this is the first time, I think. I forgot to read him when we did a show back in the spring. So we'll just say it like this. For the first time in 2026, here's what Coach X has to say. What's up to all you Coach X fans out there? Hey, did you know I tried to start a Twitter for only Coach X fans? OnlyCoachXFans.com. Dear God, was I wrong to try to start that? Hey, did you all know there's a huge amount of pornography out there on the line? Why is he acting like he's now a 70-year-old who's only started using dial-up or something? Like a very disproportionate amount for the amount of people in the world. Who knew? Well, Grant probably knew. Anywho, I decided against the only Coach X fans, even though I feel like there are enough lady fans out there to support that. I feel like it's just a wrong way to make some money. But to all you girls out there, who am I to judge? And to the guy that made the Liberty Bibberty commercials, just stop, for the love of God. Please stop. Week 1, here we come. And that's what Coach X has to say. I actually like the Liberty Bibberty commercials. I think they're pretty funny. But thanks, Coach X, for joining us. And I'll go ahead and I'll put this, since we don't have video, I'll put this up so you can read it as I'm saying it. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, it's Kevin, Grant, and I talking a little Big Arse Preview Show. At Altex Welding Supply, which was established in 2015 and has become one of the leading full-service providers of industry cylinder gases and welding supplies in Houston and the surrounding areas, but that's not their main thing they're trying to do. They're trying to establish partnerships and relationships with customers and businesses because they're committed to providing not only the best product, but excellent customer service, and that's by treating the people the right way, being reliable, building trust, using their technical experience, which, by the way, they have a sales and management team of about 75 employees, which has about a combined 1,000 years of welding supply experience. So they know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing, and they are just absolutely awesome people. Justin Kirby is such a great dude, and he will do you right if you need his supplies. You can easily give them a call at 936-931-1072. You can find them on Facebook, or you can find them online at altexweld.com. All right, Terry Bennett, Grant Goodwin, and Kevin McPherson back here on the Big Arse Preview Shows. Before we jump into the divisions and the classes, we just kind of wanted to talk about, I legitimately think this has been one of the weirdest off seasons when it comes to realignment and coaches move, especially coaches moves. And I want to ask Kevin first, who has officially retired from his teaching position. All these weird moves, it feels like this is the beginning of this kind of stuff because of the voucher system. And I think a lot of coaches are starting to see down the road and realize how tough it's going to be a coach in public schools.
One other factor you have with that is you have enrollment fluctuations larger than you've had in the past. And a lot of districts are struggling with budgets as well.
Yep.
Some districts having to think about pay for play. Are you having to reduce your staff as well? So imagine what that's like for assistant coaches. Like, am I going to have a slot here? Or do they need a different kind of teaching position to go with my coaching slot? It could be, those moving up, those moving down. It just seems like those attendance and enrollment trends are moving a little bit quicker. You throw in with the fact that you have student athletes kind of freely moving around more.
Yep.
I think about what that does to a coach's stability when you're counting on, especially if it's a skill position type guy or your quarterback, and all of a sudden the quarterback you think you're having is ruled ineligible, and okay, I'm going to move to Louisiana.
Nussmeier.
Right.
Yep.
We've seen a lot of that in the offseason, all the ineligibilities as well. It just seems like a perfect storm of all these things. Is gonna make it maybe a little more difficult to prognosticate, like maybe not the top, but right below the top, like who's gonna fall where.
I kind of think that maybe you had said, that like the staffs, trying to get, all your coordinators and whatnot. I think it might start looking a lot like how we grew up in the 80s and early 90s, where in 3A, right, 2A, you're going to have 4 dudes on staff, right?
That's a good point.
Us coming up through Texas high school football, you didn't have that, you didn't have 20 guys.
No.
Right? You had a head coach and maybe 3 or 4 other assistant coaches. 2 of them are coordinators, and they also coached positions, which it's not, it's still, coordinators still in the smaller classifications do coach positions, but they have a lot more help. I think they will be a little bit more bogged down now into just, the defensive coordinator is going to be a defensive line coach and a linebackers coach, right?
No, I
Instead
agree.
of being able to, have specialized coaches.
Well,
Yeah,
go ahead.
I would say probably at the smaller classifications, especially if they're running into budget constrictions. Okay, you're going to have to do more with less.
Yeah, you're going to do more with less, and you're starting to see, and this started actually a couple of years ago with, I can't think of his name right now, the guy that moved out to Ponder. You're starting to see some of the 5A and 6As drop back down into 4A and 3A because they might be losing a little money, but they're moving into a small town. It doesn't cost as much. There's not as much pressure. There's not as much, or like with him, he left because he was at Humble, where he was always going to be in the district of Doom in 6A, and his team was basically apathetic about it. They just didn't care the program. So it's fascinating. And then transfers. It feels like this offseason, the UIL has tried to put the top back on the bottle, and some of the ones that they're denying, it's like, the guy's moving because his mom married somebody, like the North Crowley kid.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. The UIL, I defend the UIL more than I'm against it, but it feels like a lot of this summer with the big recruits. And I know we're not talking 4A, 3A, and 2A, but we're just overall high school. It feels like they've kind of went the extreme the wrong way. I feel like they're just now like, nope, you can't move because we've let too many move now, and we got to stop it.
Well, a lot of that obviously is done by the district committees, right?
And I hate that. I don't believe.
Well, and by the time, if they can't agree and then they appeal, then it goes to UIL, but the UIL does not rubber stamp it.
Yeah.
It is frequently.
As they used to.
Right.
And you look at, and it does affect down here. You look at 3A Columbus. Columbus loses Braylon Fisher, they're all everything who got hurt last year, but then they get Odell James's, remember Odell James? Odell James's son, who's a sophomore quarterback. I joke with Jeremy, it's like they almost traded. They traded Braylon Fisher for, Odell James's son. But yeah, that, and then just and we always knew the negative on divisions would be the distance, but man, it feels like this year is the most extreme all the way across the state, not just in West Texas. We've got DFW schools like Kaufman who are going to be just basically yo-yoing from Fort Worth to East Texas. And again, going back with the budgets, are we going to start seeing less of these cross-sectional games that we've gotten used to between two powerhouses because people can't, we had that during the financial crisis of 2009 to 2011. A lot of schools would I think they had that 50-mile window they called. Yeah. I feel like we're about to get back into that again.
Well, I think the landscape and the look of our precious game is just changing, right? It's just, in 10 years, it's not going to look like it has here, in the past, the last, 15, 20 years
and
that we've been really
yeah.
following, which is, change is inevitable.
Exactly.
Right. Is it, change that you're going to like? I don't know. A lot of people don't like change. I hate change, but it is necessary. I just hope that we're able to keep up the good work that the UIL has done and make this the best sport in the country, especially when it comes to the way the playoffs are laid out. I think right now this is a very crucial time for the UIL to be able to, keep the strength of our game.
Yeah,
right?
there's always change, you're right, but it does feel like we're at one of those precipice moments where
it could go one way.
It could go one way or the other. I mean, football's never going to go away, but like,
Right.
I've heard of talk of them maybe with the travel start doing like how the NCAA does their basketball tournaments, where your first 2 weeks are like in a little pod where it's just you're only going to play these two teams, like. And we'll see if that happens. But yeah, I think you called it. We're in a transition period. How will it work? I will say this: we talked about it last year. Girls flag football, I think, is the next big thing. I think it's going to be huge in Texas.
And
that's right up Noe's alley. Noe's sitting over here.
Well,
He's
that
a
is also
WNBA aficionado.
They can tap into a new, I'll call it a market, but a new group of people. If all of a sudden you have a new audience that are watching girls flag football, then you might have a percentage of those, become interested in traditional 11-man high school football. And so I think it's pretty wise. It's low overhead.
Oh, yeah.
And you're meeting a need to maybe a group of student athletes who don't fit into any other sport for whatever reason. Not hard to find a field to play on. You don't have to have the big stadiums. There's a lot. I can't think of hardly any negatives.
Well, and
flag football
in my neighborhood where I live, the Garland Owls offensive coordinator of like 15 years, he just retired, and we talk all the time and stuff. And he feels that girls flag football will transition into boys flag football because he talked about. He goes, I knew guys that athletically they could play football, but they weren't built to play padded football, but they would shine, the 5'9" quick dude that, if you put him on the football field, he's going to get destroyed, but if you put him on the flag football field, he'll shine.
I was always better in the backyard than I was Friday night.
And that'll get them ready for intramural football.
I bet I'd score every hour 4 or 5 touchdowns at least.
That's what we're going to do.
I scored one in my whole life when it was actually put pads on.
That's what we're going to do. As if high school gets out of hand, we're just going to start covering backyard ball.
Right.
Tonight we're at Timmy's house. All-time quarterback dad.
The bulk of our work is on Thanksgiving Day. Just driving around to there's various households.
Intern
Noe wouldn't be creepy, would it?
Intern Noe the Pro. Hey, we did that once. Intern Noe the Pro, he might remember this. So the group we used to run with, some of them got a bug up their butt that they wanted to go play football. And we were in our 30s. And one dude was like, yeah, we're going to play tackle. And he tried to go tackle everybody. We're like, no. We played like, 5 plays? And then we're like, yeah, let's go to the bar. We're done. But yeah, it's a weird year in football. Realignment always is an adjustment year, but especially this year. I think the biggest thing overarch is, and you and I and Kevin kind of talked about it way back when we did that one show in the offseason. I feel like in all the classifications we cover, this is the most wide open. We've seen it in every class.
Yeah.
Like when you look at the favorites, and of course you've got Carthage and Stephenville, but nobody would be shocked if either one of them don't make it.
Right.
And then 3A and 2A especially, man, they are just all over. You can make the case there are 10 to 15 teams in all classes that we could see playing in the state semifinals, and I like that.
Yeah, that means that especially in 3A and 2A, well, actually in 4A too, round 2 and 3 of the playoffs, like the first 2 rounds of the playoffs here lately, it seems like kind of, you got to really look hard to find a really good matchup.
I agree.
I don't think that's going to be the case this year.
I mean, there's going to be some by-district matchups where, like in East Texas, where the second and third place matchups, and the third place team might be better than the second place team in the other district. We all know that Texas weather does not mess around, whether it's hail, high winds, scorching heat, all of those test your roof. And sometimes your roof fails. And when that happens, you need a local team you can count on. Welcome to Luxury Restoration and Roofing, serving the DFW Metroplex with premium craftsmanship and honest service. With over 16 years in the industry, decades of combined construction experience, and an accredited A+ BBB rating, they deliver top-tier roofing solutions without compromising on quality or breaking the bank. Now, whether you need a quick repair or you need a complete roof replacement, that's what happened here in the studio in 2024, or you want a high-end custom installation, get a hold of Luxury Restoration and Roofing and get the quality, the reliability, and the peace of mind you and your home deserve. So give them a call, 817-228-8611 today for your free estimate. That's 817-228-8611. You can also find them online on Facebook. Just type in Luxury Restoration and Repair and Roofing, and then you can also find them online at luxuryrestorationandroofing.com. All right, Terry Bennett, Grant Goodwin, Kevin McPherson back here for a Division I Big Arse Preview Show brought to you by NeuroGuard Plus. Now, what we do is we go District 1 to District 16 in every division. I always say this, we're not going to break down a 10-minute conversation for every district. If you get offended by that, I'm sorry. That just means if you're the best team, you're getting an easy district. Because there's just, I mean, Grant's going to give us a whole speech on District 1. He wrote a dissertation about it.
I did. Do you have time?
All right, let's go ahead and start. District 1, as we were just talking about before we started recording, this is basically the El Paso district. They, as Kevin was talking about, was a 9-team district last year. This year, it's a 5-team district. I mean, look. It is what it is. This district, there's a lot of possibilities inside the district. I think it's going to be a fun district. I don't think it's going to be a district that's going to be a big player on the state.
Well, I mean, look, they have to go in the playoffs by district against a very tough 2A4 District 2 4A Division I district with West Plains, Dumas, Randall, Canyon, Hereford's going to be pretty decent, right? But they're going to be hard pressed. Even if you win this district, District 1, your work's cut out for you to get up against District 2 in the by district. But I think Riverside wins this district. I know Andrus did drop down, right, from 5A, and they made it, 2 rounds deep, I think.
And they have a great quarterback in Jamar Milty. He is a legitimate D1 threat.
Yeah, I think I like Riverside 1, and then Andrus 2, maybe Isleta 3, and then, Austin 4, maybe.
Yeah, I like that. Kevin?
It's a crapshoot. Once you get past those top 2, it's a crapshoot.
Yeah, it is Riverside and Andrus, and then everybody else, in my opinion. All right, let's go to the aforementioned District 2. Now, this is a legitimate great district out in Region 1. You know, you've got a lot of questions. Of course, West Plains had such an amazing run the last couple of years, but
Slade Russell's coming back,
and he's the everything for them at running back, and I think he's a better linebacker.
It's just, what are they going to do at quarterback? Right? They lost a good one.
What are they going to do at quarterback? What are they going to do at offensive line? How are they going to replace a lot of that back end of that defense? Russell's going to get 200 tackles, but he's going to need some help there. But in saying that, they are definitely a playoff team, and I still kind of have them as the favorite. But I'm interested in Dumas. It's about time for Dumas to cycle up. You know, that's what they do. They have a great class. They'll go 12-2, and then they'll fall back for a couple of years and slowly build. Last year, they had a surprising run going 8-4, and I think that they could be the team that throws a wrench in it with Colton Mills at quarterback.
I think that's why Colton Mills is why Dumas actually wins this district.
I was about to say that was going to be my big thing. I think Dumas wins the district.
Yeah, I think Dumas's defense can catch up to the offense because, look, I think the Demons are going to be able to score points. I think the question is having to replace, almost half, if not more than half of that defense. But I think with, West Plains being a little bit quarterback short now, that's going to be fine. I think Dumas might win this, and then West Plains.
Yeah, and Kelton Dill coming back at linebacker for Dumas. They have the pieces. And, especially at this level, when you've got a guy who's been the starter quarterback for 3 years, the 4th year.
That's huge.
I mean, that's at that level, that is huge. And it kind of helps kind of settle everything down as well. They just, they have to kind of figure out what they're going to be like on defense, I believe.
I tell you what, the surprising thing is how the Canyon area has exploded with West Plains, Canyon, and Randall all being so good. Last year, they were combined 30-10. Now, Canyon had the craziest season ever because their coach basically famously told everyone to F off on Instagram, sitting in a pool, and everybody thought their season was over, and then they ended up winning 6 in a row before they lost the playoffs. I'm curious because I feel like if Canyon
Well, that was disappointing, though, because a lot of people thought that this was Canyon's year last year, 2025, and they were going to basically get over that Stephenville hump, right?
Yeah.
But that did not happen.
But they could this year, man, with Brock's Hacker at quarterback. They have a really good tight end in Aiden Martinez. But I have it I have it Dumas.
Oh, I was
Canyon.
I was talking about West Plains. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. That's
You're
right.
talking- yeah,
I was talking about Canyon. I have it Dumas, Canyon, West Plains, and Randall. And Hereford and Pampa, sadly, are solid teams, but they're going to struggle in this.
I have the same.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad the kind of the legacy of Hereford and Pampa that they're at the bottom, they're in the cellar in that district. I think that tells you a little bit about the strength of the district as well.
Well, and Hereford has had one of the craziest swings. 2 years ago, we did their Hereford show and they didn't win a game. Then they went 10-0 in the regular season, and then last year they went 2-8. And it, they're just one of those programs that man, when their swings are really, really big. All right, let's go to 4A Division I. And Ken Andrews up in Greenwood. Andrews this year 9 returning starters on offense, including everything Bo Hudson at running back. But Greenwood has such a good defense, even though they only returned 3. But man, they're really, really good. You've got Reese Watzel at linebacker. Ken Andrews up in Greenwood this year.
They can. I think Greenwood wins this district, but look, Andrews always has that strong offense. Defensively, they seem to lack.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be no different this year. I think Andrews is going to put up a lot of points, but I don't think they have the defense to hold off Greenwood. I like it Greenwood, Andrews, and then Plainview.
Yeah,
and
this is
Lakeview.
this is a district everybody gets in. What do you say, Kevin?
I don't know if Greenwood's a lock, just because they have.
Oh no, they're not a lock.
No,
I don't think.
I'm just saying that it may be a little bit tougher for Greenwood to finish near the top, just because they lost 10 3-year starters off last year's team.
That's crazy.
And at that level, I mean, that's pretty difficult. But now, if they find dudes, if they have dudes, and that's more from a leadership and experience standpoint than athletic ability. So, I think we'll find out early based upon their non-district schedule. But Greenwood, that they were another program up and down. We saw them in 2019, if you remember that, Grant.
Mm-hmm.
They went 13-1, and they were really close making it to Arlington. Then they're kind of up and down, 3-7, then 10-2. Then again, last year 13-1. So step back down, or kind of be able to continue what they've been doing recently.
I think they'll be. I think they'll win this district. I think Greenwood, the Rangers, that program has been built now, right? And Brian Hill's doing a great job. He's kept this legacy alive. I think Greenwood's one of the premier.
What was Dad head coach there first?
Well, no, that was the guy before. I can't remember. The stadium is named after.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name now. But this, I really think Greenwood is one of the premier programs in Region 1. So I'm going off of that. I think Andrews is very capable of doing it, but I think it's Greenwood 1 and Andrews 2. Man, this next district 4, this one's going to be a fun one.
I'll go ahead and say it. We of course, I did the video last week explaining everything. This is definitely a top 5 toughest district in 4A. When you look at 4A, you've got Springtown, Decatur, and Alvarado alone. And then you got a team in Aubrey, man, and they're really excited about what they have this year. They returned 19 starters.
I think the winner of this district controls the region.
I actually agree, too.
And I think that's Springtown.
The thing that I also like about this district compared to the others, it's an 8-team district. So I think there's more games to kind of like separate the top from the bottom.
Sure.
And you'll have a truer picture. The pretenders and the contenders, you'll know by week 9 probably who they're going to be.
I just like Kane Hill. I mean, he's been tearing it up for 2 years now, 3 years now.
Third-year starter.
Yeah. I just think, I don't think there's anybody in this district or region that can slow Kane Hill and this Porcupine offense down. So I'm taking Springtown 1, Decatur 2, and Alvarado 3, I guess.
Alvarado loses everything, including their head coach. It's going to be
maybe
curious.
Aubrey in the third spot.
Hey, let's not count out Lake Dallas. They got a new head coach. They return a bunch of starters on defense. They do have to rebuild their offense, but yeah, I look, Springtown. The only
Isn't
thing
that where that trader John Mateer's from, Lake Dallas?
So Little M.
Is he from Little M? Oh, Little M. Who am I thinking of as Lake Dallas?
Oh, there was a D1 quarterback a few years
there
ago.
was.
That was the last time they were really good. They surprised
Remember,
everybody.
they were a 5A school, and they dropped down, and they had been pretty darn good in 5A.
Wasn't that where Todd
Yeah, and then
Peterson was?
Salina,
The
Salina,
Santa
and what was the Frisco team?
Lone Star or
no,
Panther Creek.
huh?
Panther Creek.
Panther Creek. Yeah, really kind of showed them.
What Springtown? The only thing stopping Springtown from getting out of the region is Springtown. They have crapped the bed the last 2 years, getting destroyed by Sulphur Springs 2 years ago in the second round, and then last year in the region
But at least Sulphur Springs, Sulphur Springs had the actual talent to do it.
Oh yeah.
That wasn't necessarily a game that they should have won. They could have won, but that they should have won. I don't think there's any team here that they would play in the playoffs in this region where they wouldn't be the favorite.
No, I totally agree with you. All right, let's move over to 4A Division 2. We get the all Fort Worth but Kennedale district. And, it'd be easy to say, oh, well, Kennedale's going to win. But, folks, Eastern Hills upset Kennedale last year in the playoffs. Now they're in the same district. This Highlander squad is a legitimately solid team now.
Yeah, but I still got it, man. I got to see it for more than 1 year. I'm taking Kennedale to win and then Eastern Hills, too.
Okay, I've got Eastern Hills number one, man. They returned 12 starters. Chris Johnson, a heck of a running back, old school running back. He's really, really fast. He gets, man, if he gets the edge, he's gone. I like Kennedale this year, though. They've got to rebuild their defense a little bit. Let's see. I'm looking at the other ones. After that, it's a crapshoot. A Dunbar might be 4. It's really hard. Like you say, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
This is before even all the transfers now. This is the thing about the Fort Worth schools, the ISD schools. You don't know who's going to be there.
Right.
Hell, the coaches don't know who's going to be there half the time.
They have PAP forms pre-signed, and they just put a name in and then just send it off. They don't care.
And these are the type of teams where's our starting tackle? Oh, well, he had to start working at McDonald's, that kind of stuff. But I like Eastern
Or
Hills.
he's over at Diamond Hill now.
Hill Jarvis.
Right.
Who do you have, Kevin?
Yeah, Richard Barrett's got, has his system in place for many years. And it's a kind of system where maybe if you're lacking in size up front, then, you will have athleticism at running back, and they don't really rely on one guy.
Yeah, they don't have that stud that they usually have on either side of the ball. They usually have a stud linebacker or
I was about to say
stud
that.
running back.
Yep.
They don't have that this year, but what they do have is the system like you were talking about.
All right, let's go to 4A Division 2. It's the all Dallas district. I'm going to go
District
6. Sorry, District 6. 4A Division 1. I'm going to go just because we know the guy. I'm going with Conrad to win this now. Josh Ragsdale there. What's his third year there? Look, Carter and Kimball have both adjusted well as they drop down into 4A. They haven't been dominant, but they've been good. Last year, Carter went 6-5. Kimball went 7-4. It's kind of nice to see their rivalry mean something again because last year it decided district. I'm going to go with Kimball to win the district this year. When you've got the offensive line they have a couple D1 possibilities on the line. I like them, but man, Carter's athleticism is always off the charts.
I like Lincoln to win.
I have no problem with that either. That was going to be my dark horse.
Kimball 2, and then Carter 3.
Yeah, I like that too. That was going to be my dark horse. Can Lincoln find that mojo that they had back in the day? Last year, they were 9-2 in district. In the season. And they have a really good quarterback in Jason Hampton. So, yeah, this is actually going to be a fun district this year.
Yeah.
Kevin?
I'm kind of leaning towards Carter, believe it or not.
I love it. 3 different picks. That's why we're right no matter what, unless Pinkston surprises everybody.
I'm a fan of Spencer Gilbert, their coach. They won the district title last year. They've got some playmakers coming back. 5 on each side of the ball coming back. So, again, it's going to come down to those 2 or 3 games, really. But if I'm having to pick someone, I'm kind of favoring Carter.
I will say this about Pinkston. They were in the Salina Panther Creek district the last 2 years, and they actually, outside of those 2 teams, were really, really good. Last year, they actually made the playoffs. But, yeah, so Grant likes Lincoln. I like Kimball. Kevin likes Carter. You got to like that consistency right there. All right, let's go to 4A Division 2. We're hitting the East Texas, top of the Dallas-Fort Worth area.
A doozy right here, man.
This is a weird district. Sulphur Springs, Paris, Kaufman, Caddo Mills. Man, that place is exploding. Ferris, Maybank, and Poro Waxahachie Life. Last year, they were 0-10. They do return 14 starters, but as Grant and I always say, if you're 0-10, do you really want to return that many starters from that team? For me, this is going to be an old-school I-30 battle. Sulphur Springs and Paris, they're going to decide the district. start. But watch out for Kaufman. Every time they drop into 4A, they're kind of like Lindale. They tend to be really competitive in 4A, and then they struggle in 5A. But, man, Sulphur Springs has just built a machine, and Deuce Timmons is back.
Deuce Timmons, that's the key for Sulphur
so fun to watch.
Springs, right? I think Sulphur Springs, that offense is going to be electric with Deuce Timmons coming back. That guy is just great.
And you got a receiver like Jackson Virgil, who's 6'4".
Right.
I mean,
They're going to be darn near unstoppable. I'm just a little worried on this defense. It pretty much lost everything.
Yeah, that's kind of been their bugaboo when they get into the playoffs.
We know that Paris is going to be athletic enough offensively. Who's going to have their own? Paris is going to have their own defensive woes, right? But athletically on offense, Paris is going to be good enough to expose that young Sulphur Springs defense. So Sulphur Springs and Paris, this is going to be a district to really keep up with, especially in the 1 and 2 position. And I think Kaufman can throw their name in the hat too. I like it Sulphur Springs 1, Paris 2, Kaufman 3, and then, I don't know, Caddo or Ferris.
I feel like Caddo, Mills, and Ferris will be playing for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, Caddo's got a lot back on offense. Only have 2 starters back on defense. And that's kind of been the way they've run the last few years. They'll have some dudes on offense, but they hadn't been able to stop a lot of people. I'm trying to find the schedule for Paris or Sulphur Springs. I think it may boil down to who's the home team in this game.
Yeah.
Because I think those are significant home field advantages.
Oh, both of them.
Whether you're in Sulphur Springs or whether you're in Paris. What would you call that? Is that the Highway 19 that runs between Sulphur Springs?
Yeah, I said I-30. It's Highway 19, yeah.
Well, you got to go to I-30.
Yeah,
to get there.
I-30, look, for Paris, they're kind of they need to prove it to us, because the last few years, they have been one of the most up and down teams. Whenever you think they're ready to assert themselves, they'll lose a game they shouldn't. And then whenever you're ready to write them off, they'll win a game.
Yeah.
But it feels like this is the best Paris team probably in the last 5 to 8 years.
Yeah, 8 starters back on offense. They got to replace most of their defense.
Great quarterback in Tyler Heath.
Yeah, 2,700 yards, 31 TDs last year. It's just like, can they find guys to fill in those holes on defense? And also you can't lose to anyone that you're not supposed to lose to in a district either.
There's no
room for.
And this district's good enough with Ferris. Ferris is, I know it sounds weird to say that, but Ferris is a team that will be battling for the playoffs. I wouldn't want to play them on a night where you think you're going to, sleep on them. What I love about Paris and West Orange start. They have the same look, same colors, and they both, when they list their players, will have like 7 players they just list as athlete, because they're going to play all over the field, including they have a sophomore in Paris that really right now is just athlete, and Phelan Brown, who I think is going to be special. This is, I contend if Paris can find consistency, Paris could surprise a lot of people this year. All right, let's go to 4A Division 2.
I know they're fun one, man.
Oh, this has been the consistent District of Doom for the last 6 cycles.
I believe that is still going to be the case this year. District of Doom right here, right? Toughest district in the state.
And you have a team in Pine Tree that could finish anywhere from 1st to 3rd, who return a ton back from last year's team that made that surprising regional semifinal run. Of course, you've got Lindale. You got Kilgore. Now, Kilgore, this is the biggest rebuild they've had to do in a few years. And I want to say this. I feel like this district, with Kilgore the last 2 years in the state championship, and then Chapel Hill a few years ago in state championship, as much as we talk about the District of Doom, they need to rehabilitate their image in the state championships, because this district has laid 3 eggs in the past 5 state championship games.
Yeah, they have. Though, look, they could have been more competitive in those games, but I don't think they would have been favorites in any of those games.
I agree.
It's not like they crapped the bed necessarily, except for they just didn't seem to be as competitive as what they should have been. Kilgore's got, I'm not going to say a quarterback problem now, but they don't have the dude. They got the Rayshawn Williams kid coming back at running back, right? But they don't have that offensive leader, that proven offensive leader, a quarterback. And is the defense going to be that defense last year was just nasty, man.
Even
they
though
were so good,
even though they got shut out, they played the best defense against Stephenville anybody played that year. That defense kept them in the game. I want to talk about, though, who I think could be a dark horse, and that's Henderson. You look at them, Ricky Meeks, year 2, he has 8 returning starters from a team that was uber competitive in the district. They just couldn't break through. And Henderson's biggest issue is depth compared to everybody else.
Yeah.
But if Ricky Meeks can find some guys that on the bench that can play key moments, Henderson could easily replace Chapel Hill, because Chapel Hill, as solid as they've been, this is their biggest rebuild they've had probably since Jeff Reardon got there. Is they're only returning, I think, 11 starters, and it doesn't feel like Chapel Hill has that big key stud like they've had in the past.
So I like Lindale winning this. I mean, that Lindale offensive line, man, as good as they've been the last few years, and the defensive line, I think they're going to be so strong in the trenches.
Lindale,
yeah. I just think Lindale's going to be the class of the district. I think Kilgore and Pine Tree and maybe Chapel Hill can push them a little bit, but I like Lindale 1, maybe Pine Tree 2, and then Kilgore.
Yeah, I'm really big on Pine Tree. Colton Kraft, their quarterback, it feels like every team has a 6'4" quarterback going forward now. And saying that, Lindale's quarterback's only about 5'10", Lindig. If he takes that next step, and last year I think he threw for 1,800 yards. If he can throw for about 2,500 yards, Lindale's going to play for a lot. And I'm like you, I have Lindale, Pine Tree, Kilgore, and I'm going to go with the surprise. Henderson's going to beat out Chapel Hill.
Okay.
And I want Henderson to be one of those teams simply because it's one of my favorite places to visit.
Love that stadium.
Oh. Well, they're getting a lot of playoff games out there.
Yeah, they've kind of replaced Tyler Rose as the East Texas 4A, 3A, and 2A playoffs. But it's a great stadium.
We enjoyed that game, that Gilmer-Atlanta game last year, did we not?
Athens, yeah. God, that was one of the best playoff games for a bi-district that ended up being a blowout that we've ever seen.
I know, right?
All right, let's go to 9 4A Division II as we swing over into Southeast Texas. This is a traditional district. I feel like all these teams have been playing each other basically for 40 years. Bridge City last year finally broke through, going 11-2. And I tell you what, Josh Smalley has them in the right direction again. They've got 6 on offense, 4 on defense, including one of the better linebackers in Bryce Breeden. Also, you can't forget Kagan Trahan at linebacker, Hudson Hoffman at quarterback. This Bridge City team is a legit team. I think they're one of those teams that they might take the big next step going forward and be playing for the region this year.
Yeah, they could. I like Bridge City to win this district. And then, I don't know, is it Vider, Lumberton, or Huffman Hargrove?
Huffman Hargrove is in that little cycle. They're getting, last year they were really young. They went 7-4.
I think I like Huffman 2.
Yep.
And then Vider 3, and then Lumberton 4.
Is Vider still running? Oh, yeah, it's Dwayne DeWall. Of course, they're still running the old
slot
tee.
Yeah.
Vider, that's that team you just never want to play. Even when they're bad, they're going to pull an upset off of somebody else. I've got it Bridge City, Hargrave. I've got Vider, and then, I'm going to go with Lumberton, man. They returned 9 from a 7-4 team. They have a really, really good running back in Nick Craddock. Nolan Mitchell at quarterback, 6'1", 180 pounds. This is going to be a fun district. This is one of the districts that you still get the 21-17 scores. It's not 40s. I mean, they're going to play some slobber knockers out there.
Yeah. And Hargrave has got to replace a lot on defense, and they lost their quarterback, but they still have Drayden Bacon, who had a nice season last year, over 1,600 yards and 21 touchdowns. And they've got a decent offensive line, a couple of starters back as well. But it's just a matter of if they have enough coming back. The top of that district is really, really strong. And the bottom, sad to say, the bottom of the district, not so much. Livingston and Liberty, I just don't think are going to be as competitive. What's also interesting, we talk about realignment in that we just talked about District 8. Well, most of these teams in District 8 last year were in Region 3.
Yep.
And now this district we're just looking at now, this used to be a Northeast Texas district. So there's a little bit of shifting in the region, which, that has a lot to say in regards to who's going to make it out of the region when you've got more of these traditional powers. And then at the bottom of the region, you've got some teams out of Central Texas who may or may not have been in the region because it was more of a Southeast Texas district last
That's
year.
That's a good point.
So there's kind of just a little bit of shifting, like tectonic plates a little bit. I don't think it'll affect who's at the top, But, if you're looking for that team kind of coming out of nowhere that you're not expecting to get to the region finals, might have to dig a little deeper here just because it's not the same districts.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here in Region 3, and we're about to talk about Stephenville. That just tells you how wonky it's become. But let's go to District 10 first, and that's the Houston districts. You've got Aldine, Austin, that'd be really crazy. Austin, you've got Sugarland. I love the fact they went back to Sugarland. I do like that.
Hell, they sure did, didn't they?
Yeah, sure.
Did they do that
at
last
Fort
year?
Bend?
Or yeah, it was Fort Bend.
it was Fort Bend.
Last time I remember hearing it called Sugarland Willow Ridge.
Thurman Thomas was running back.
That's right.
That was back when they were state favorites like 3 years in a row, and each year they got upset, and they never won state. I don't know why I always remember that, but Willow Ridge is now here. You've got Sugarland, Harmony, Sterling, Northside, Stafford, and Austin, and you absolutely know Coach Ken Savannah at Stafford, when he saw the districts on realignment, he went, yes, because he got out of some of the toughest districts that they were in, and I think Stafford runs away with this one.
I do,
and I think they're going to be really good. They're going to be a region threat. It all depends on the first round matchup, but I think they're going to be a region threat.
Yeah, they could be. I mean, how many times we said that, though?
Exactly. Again, they're a prove-it team.
Right.
They're a prove-it team.
We went down and saw them play El Campo
yeah.
one year. And El Campo, when Stafford was predicted to,
That's when they had that big D1 wide receiver and quarterback, and they
just underperformed.
Yeah.
But, I think Stafford takes this district, and then it's like Sterling, Willow Ridge, and I don't know.
That's kind of a toss-up.
Austin.
And whoever wins this district, you don't have a Herculean task of playing the number 4 team out of District 9.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
A really good shot of going maybe 3 rounds.
Yeah, I mean, even in District 9, as great as Bridge City is, they're new to this. Like last year was the first time. Wasn't that like their first time ever in the go 2 rounds or something like that? I mean, Bridge City is one of those schools that's just always, baseball wise, they're amazing, but football wise, they'd always struggled. Even though you look at them and go, man, they're really big. Why aren't they better?
Well, they actually won a state championship in 1967 when they beat,
did they?
beat McKinney.
Oh, really? No, nobody ever heard what happened to McKinney. Is that town still around? All right, let's go to District 11, and this is a fun one, folks. You got Bay City, who is resurgent. You have El Campo, traditional power. Needville, Navasota. I mean, these teams last year, man, it was fun to watch them, and I think this is going to be a fun district again. I like Bay City to continue this. Robert Jones has built something really good. Like, they underperformed last year at times and still made the region semifinals, going 9-4. But I don't think anybody.
Wiggins,
oh,
man.
he is fun to watch. But I don't think anybody in this district goes unscathed. Just like last year, teams are going to beat each other in this district.
Yeah.
And it may not be so much who wins it, is it could be a good team or good teams left out.
Yes, that's a really, really good point, because, I mean, you know, as Dave Campbell has it, they've got Needville sitting on the outside looking in, and Needville's a team that last year went 10-4. Went 5-6, but returned 10-4.
I think Needville's going to take 3rd in this district.
Oh,
I
really?
think it's Bay City 1, Navasota 2, Needville 3, and then maybe Sealy or El Campo for 4th.
Well,
Sealy's moving up.
Yeah, and Sealy's in a transition year this year. They
lost that quarterback.
Yeah, now,
good.
Bo Finley, Clint Finley's son, steps in, and a lot of people feel like he's a better pure quarterback. You know, that was the one thing we talked about when we went down to Sealy last year. We were surprised at how the throwing mechanics of the quarterback wasn't great. Bo Finley,
he's got the size.
Oh yeah, he does. 6'1", but probably really more close to 6'2". I've got Bay City, Sealy, Navasota, and Needville. I have El Campo sitting on the outside looking in. But I say that they returned 13 starters.
I don't know why I have Sealy not making the playoffs.
I could see that too. Again,
I think a lot of it depends on Finley.
Yeah, it really does.
How he performs, and I mean, he's got the genetics, right?
Yep. I mean, his dad played in pro ball.
Yeah,
and super nice, dude. He was so fun last year dealing with him going down. I still love the fact that I was going to have him on the next week to talk the game. When we went down, they got upset, and he basically said, "Do I have to talk about that shit storm?" I'm like, "No, coach, we'll let you go this time."
And in Sealy last year, we're walking to the bathroom, and some guy wanted to kick Terry's ass for no reason.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
I'm sure there was a good reason.
No, we really did not talk to this dude. It was weird. Like, I even was like, "Wait."
I didn't see anything, but yeah, there could have been an altercation that I didn't know about.
I stole his turkey leg.
He was pointing at you. I want to kick your ass. I was like, oh well. I would have your back.
You
He's
know,
pretty big. So
well,
I'm
it
just
was
gonna
really
sit in the
weird. It
truck.
was really weird because I thought you did have my back until I looked over and you were whispering something in his ear. Like,
Right.
I feel like you kind of
Like,
instigated that.
Yeah, his gut's really soft. Just hit it there, man.
shut up.
He'll fall like a
And we just eat
freaking
too.
sequoia.
Oh, that was a great steakhouse we had too. That little
Yeah, it
bar
was.
steakhouse.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to 12-4A Division 1. This is the weirdest district. This reminds me when Liberty Hill was in Region 1. You've got Stephenville, China Spring, Lampasas, Burnett, Gerald, and Marble Falls. I will tell you this.
Stephenville all the way, man.
Stephenville all the way. Oh, and Lampasas.
Trot
Well,
Jordan.
this is a
you
great
give-
district.
You give Stephenville a seasoned quarterback, and then they always play really good defense. I'm sorry, Stephenville's the team to beat. Maybe not just in the district, but the region.
They're the prohibitive favorite in the state. Let's be
Oh,
honest
yeah.
on that.
Yeah.
I mean, as you talked about Trot Jordan, and just they have become a team that they are one of the most physical teams you're going to see. Even when they get beat, they're going to batter you. Their offensive line looks like a D1 offensive line. They're special. But in saying that, this is a really good district. Top to bottom, this is a really good district. But I still feel like they're going to run away with it.
I do too. Can Burnett, Lampasas, China Spring, can they offer much resistance to the Stephenville Yellow Jackets?
Yeah, and you've got a lot more travel now, but I don't think for a team like Stephenville it's a factor. Could be for some of the other teams. Lampasas has to figure out who's going to play quarterback and does have someone to throw to, but I think they've kind of built a little something there.
Oh, yeah.
China Spring coming up from Deep Division 2 had that weird 4-8 record last year, so you went 2 rounds, but you had a little kind of weird. So yeah, and then also Burnett 4-8 last season, kind of a weird wonky there. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the haves and the have-nots too. Marble Falls, boy, they've only won 8 games since 2021.
Yeah,
So
when
That's
they
crazy.
when they dropped down, I really thought
We
because
had him as one of the
they-
big dark horses that year.
right, and
Yeah.
they just haven't done much. So I like it. Stephenville 1, Lampasas 2, China Spring 3, and Burnett 4.
Hey, look out for Gerald. That Alan Hare there, he runs
Yeah.
a slot T. They're
playing with really good numbers
Yeah,
too. Dude.
really. I mean, yeah, they're going to be 6A. They might even leap 5A Division 2 the next realignment, jump into 5A Division 1.
You know what? Let me substitute Gerald at number 3 or 4 instead of Lampasas and Burnett.
Yeah, I think Lampasas is a year away. Like Kevin said, they've got to kind of find new skill positions. But Troy Rogers, that's kind of what he's built Lampasas to be, a skill position program. So I feel like they'll find it. But I feel like Gerald's the better team. All right, let's go to 13 4A Division 1. Is this the year Davenport finally breaks through? As they've been a team that's been kind of knocking on the door of the state level. I think they win this district, but I think Dillman Austin LBJ might be a game we go see this year.
Oh yeah, I like Davenport in this one. In this district, mainly their quarterback play. He was a Torres kid, almost 2,400 yards passing last year. He was so good, and I think the Soldium kid, a running back, comes back. Defensively they were so good last year.
Yeah, and that's so big.
I don't know
points a
how
game.
good they're going to be this year defensively, but I think offensively they're good enough to maybe not run away from it with it, because I think LBJ and their speed that they always have, especially if Marquise Murray coming back, you get the ball in that kid's hands and anything can happen. So I think it's Davenport and LBJ fighting for this district. Give me Davenport to win, LBJ second, and then I don't know, Kenyon Lake or Tybee.
I'll going to say Tybee drops down into 4A. Will they become the team that comes out of nowhere and rolls, or will they be like Marble Falls and we think they're going to do good and they underperform? I mean, on the year they've got I think 10 starters coming back, 6 on offense, 6 on defense. They have really good running back in Aiden Halzadea. They got a good wide receiver in Kieran Armington. But at the end of the day, I think Davenport just out-depths LBJ. And in saying that, I don't want to play LBJ in the playoffs, because then the number, you don't have to play as many players, and there's still going to be a force. In fact, there's a really good chance we're going to see Stephenville and them all playing each other. And when it comes down to it, the Region 4, Region 3 state semifinal, in my opinion, is going to be a blast. All right, let's go to 14 4A Division 1. And what say y'all?
Lavernia runs away with this.
Lavernia might run away with a region.
Yeah, they might. I mean, they were semifinalists last year, right? And they have a good portion of that offense coming back.
Quarterback Cooper Knoll.
Yeah.
They just seem to be solid, especially up front. 6 back on offense. They're not going to get much resistance in district play. I'd be curious, not seeing their schedule in front of me, who are they playing in non-district? Because it's one of those where it's kind of a two-edged sword when you are the best team in a district that's not as competitive. It does not prepare you for the playoffs. So, what do you do to be prepared when you've got to turn around and maybe you have to play LBJ or, whoever,
Yeah.
or could be Canyon Lake. I don't know, whoever it is.
And I know
Are
this
you
sounds
ready?
I know this sounds weird because it would be Stephenville, but Lavernia doesn't have to worry about that East Texas Kilgore type team that really gives them problems. And Stephenville's athletic, but that's just a different thing. I'm not saying Lavernia would beat Stephenville, but I mean, Lavernia's the last couple of years just kind of came out of nowhere. On the 2 years, they're combined 22-6. I mean, we talk about that with a lot of experience coming back, and you brought it up earlier, Kevin, talking about a team. I think that's the thing people don't.
Didn't Lavernia beat LBJ
2 years ago?
ago?
Yeah, they beat them and Davenport,
Yeah.
didn't they? I
Which,
think.
in our eyes was a little bit of an upset, but over the grand scheme of things, you go back and look at it, all things being equal, it was not an upset.
Yeah, in the last 2 years, they've been knocked out by Kilgore, and so they won't see Kilgore this year.
Jimmy and I were at that Lavernia Kilgore game down in golly, where was that? At Randall Reed, and that was a miserable night. They said they had room for us in the press box, and they didn't have room.
The
So
one
we had
time
to
it was
sit on the
cold.
film deck, and it was cold and misty all night. Not rainy. I'd rather it just rain on me, right? It was just misting the whole night. It was freezing. God.
My favorite thing is after one drive, Kilgore scored. You messed with me. This is gonna be an ass whooping.
Oh,
and it was an ass whooping.
The only thing that kept it from being an ass whooping on the actual scoreboard was the weather. But I mean, just Kilgore's defense just did not allow Lavernia to be a drop.
All right, let's go to 15 4A Division I. Cal Allen back as they took a little step back for a couple
Are they
years.
back?
I think they are. 10-3 last year. They returned 12 starters off of that team. They've got a really good running back secondary in Ryder Reeve, Josh Norville at linebacker and tight end. I think
Calhoun can give them a game though.
Oh yeah. I was about to say. I think it's
Cal Allen wins.
Yeah,
I
so.
think that is going to be one heck of a district battle between Calhoun and Cal Allen.
Yeah, the Sand Crabs 2 years ago surprised everybody with a run.
Slot T, baby.
Yep.
It's
last
hard
year.
to defend.
Last year, they responded kind of the same way. They started slow. They got hot late. They ended up playing 12 games. They returned most of their defensive core, including their linebackers. Like you said, that slot T, that's a plug and play. You don't even need names when it comes to slot T.
Right.
This is also a district that realignment really changed the kind of, what the district schedule looks like, because Cal Allen and Midway last year were in District 16, and they were playing the Valley team. So I like we've got all the Corpus Christi teams back together, along with Port Lavaca and then Beeville Jones. It is you got some traditional rivals again, although it's going to be a top-heavy district.
Well, I'm curious to see what Miller does. They drop back down into 4A, but they have a new coach for the first time. Miller kind of became known as one of those all offense, no defense. Supposedly McHugh's trying to change that. They do return a good amount on both sides of the ball. They've got a legit D1 talent in Deion Jones at defensive end and tight end. So I think they could throw a wrench and upset one of the teams. At the end of the day, though, I've got Calhoun, Lavaca, Miller, and then I guess Toulouse Midway.
Yeah, whoever is number 4, their only saving grace is that they're playing District 16 and by district.
Exactly. Let's go to 16 4A Division I, and this is not the strongest district in the state.
Never really is.
No, it never really is. Alice can be at times a thorn in the side.
Terrible.
Yeah, I was gonna say that they were terrible last year. Again, they return a lot, but from a team that was 1-9. I don't know how much you want to return. Give me Zapata, the Hawks. They return 9. They have a real good, fun offense. They have a couple of really good wide receivers. But honestly, I feel like this district doesn't get a win in the playoffs.
I think it's Zapata, Ed Couch, Elsa. Man, what about Hidalgo? Now I'm going Allison and Hidalgo.
Hidalgo was 1-10. and made the playoffs last year. At least this year, they can't go 1-10 and make the playoffs. All right, that's all the districts for Division I. So let's go ahead and jump into. We've done our district and playoff teams. Now let's go to our region favorite, basically our state semifinal picks. We do not try to dissect and pick every playoff round. We're going to start in Region 1. I think this region is built into the same district. So give me Springtown versus Decatur. It could be Decatur versus Alvarado. It could be Alvarado versus Springtown. But I'm going to go Springtown and Decatur. And I really, really like Springtown this year.
I'm going to agree with you wholeheartedly. I think Springtown, Decatur kind of run this maybe with Alvarado. We'll see. But I like Springtown winning Region 1.
And perhaps a dark horse, even though the recent history has not really led to that, West Plains, just simply out of that 2-district set that they're coming out of,
that's a good point,
would set them up for the 3rd or 4th round.
And we'll find out if West Plains, if that was a special class early in their football history, or are they truly laying down a foundation of greatness? All right, let's go to Region 2. And once again, to me, it's all about one district, the District of Doom. I just think Lindale this time is the most complete team. I think this is a team that on paper could be better than their state champion or state final run a few years ago with the running back. I think this is a more complete team. I think they're physical. As you always say, Grant, their issue at times can be defensive, but I think this region is just going to be high octane all year.
Yeah, I think Region 2, all the good teams have some deep defensive questions, and I think that's going to come into play on as to who wins Region 2. I like Sulphur Springs and Lindale being the 2 favorites in Region 2. Whose defense between those two, and throw in Kilgore too. I think Kevin's pretty high on Kilgore, and I don't disagree. Kilgore returns a really good running back. Their question is
quarterback.
Quarterback, and they do have quite a bit to replace from a really strong defense. I think it comes down to Sulphur Springs, Lindale, and Kilgore. Give me Lindale to eke out a win over like a Sulphur Springs or a Kilgore to win Region 2. And what a fun semifinal that would be, say, Lindale and Springtown.
Kevin, who do you got?
I'm going to stay also in District 8 with the dark horse maybe being Sulphur Springs. But, I until you beat the champ, it's kind of that thing to me. Kilgore, those guys got 4 or 5 extra practices last year. Those are coming back. Lindale, still waiting. They've had a couple of good teams in the past, but have not won the big game. So I think it would be a great for that part of the world if Lindale does get to the state semifinals, kind of community that really rallies behind a success.
When they went to the state finals, they were rabid.
So from a logistics standpoint, because they're on the same district, they're not going to meet in the region final, but I would have to agree that Kilgore and Lindale among the favorites.
I mean, the one thing about Kilgore, of all the teams, even though they're replacing starters, their defense is going to be better than everybody else. And that could be what, in the playoffs, how many times you see a high-octane offense, even if they've played that team in district and scored a bunch, in the playoffs, points become harder and harder.
I just think, like Lindale is going to be that team. They have some athleticism, right, and speed.
Yep.
But it's a rare team where you also don't want to play them in a phone booth.
Exactly.
Because up front,
they will beat you up.
They can beat you up. Yep. And that's what I think Lindale, with their physicality on both sides of the ball, and they have probably one of the most proven defenses in the region as far as returning returners. So that's why I like Lindale to win Region 2.
All right, let's go to Region 3. I think we all agree Stephenville is going to be on one side of that region final. Yeah. Who is going to be the other one? That is the most interesting point, because usually
Bay City. I think
you like Bay City, but usually when you have a complete favorite like that, the team they tend to play in the region final will be someone coming out of nowhere. I like Bay City, but I still feel like Bridge City. I feel like they got that taste. They finally had some success in the playoffs. Can they build on that? They're big. They're bruised. In fact, they're one of the few teams that I'm not going to say they can out-physical Stephenville, but they can't. But they're one of the few teams in this region I think can at least kind of go toe-to-toe physical-wise with Stephenville. But at the end of the day, Stephenville's running away with this region.
Yeah.
Concur, and I don't know if that will, being the defending state champions, does having kind of a cupcake walk through the region, does that hurt you? But if you've been there, done that, I don't think it does. Whereas if more of a newcomer team, if they have a cupcake walk, then it might not prepare them for an actual heavyweight matchup. So Stephenville and then everybody else.
All right, let's go to Region 4, and it's nice to actually have multiple teams in this region. I mean, District 13, 14, and 15. In fact, if you just had any other district but 16, you could make the case that Region 4 is the top 2 toughest regions. District 16 kind of drags it down. But in 13, 14, and 15, you got, in my opinion, real teams that can make the region final. I'm going to go with LBJ winning the region. I think they take on Cal Allen, and LBJ is back into the semifinals. I really like the program they've built there.
I think it comes down. I like your LBJ pick. Like, you know, LBJ always has the athleticism and
It's
the
just
speed. It's just they sometimes seem to kind of under-deliver.
Well, and you made a
based
point.
on what they have.
You
right?
made a point. We've been down there and saw 2 games where they jumped out big, and then they had to kind of hold on at the end. And you made a point. They get real conservative offensively.
Like
at
when we
times.
saw them, 2 years ago against Wimberley, they had every opportunity to out-athlete Wimberley for 4 quarters, and they did it for a half, right?
Yeah, then had to hang
But
on.
they cannot put their. It seems like they have trouble putting their foot on somebody's throat.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
finishing them off. So that's why I lost a little bit of trust in LBJ. LBJ's got the talent, it seems, every year to win it, but do they have the wherewithal to go 4 quarters for 17 weeks?
And by the way, thank you, Austin ISD, for putting them where they should be and not in 5A.
Right. So I think Region 4 comes down to Davenport and Livonia, and I like Davenport to win Region 4.
I have Davenport as well, but actually I think Cal Allen is going to jump up and maybe be the number 2 team, although there's Livonia and LBJ also could be there. It's just I think it's a matter of sometimes just the matchups that they get.
Exactly. And again, it's nice that Region 4 has multiple teams that we can discuss. All right, let's do it. Who's your state champions? Who's in the state championship and who wins?
Well, so the semifinals, I have Springtown and Lindale, and I like Lindale beating Springtown to go to the finals. And then I got Stephenville winning Region 3, and I've got Davenport winning Region 4. So Stephenville versus Davenport. I like Stephenville, so I think it's Stephenville versus Lindale in the state championship, and I like Stephenville in that game.
That'll
Stephenville over Lindale in the 4A Division 1 state finals.
All right, Kevin, who do you got?
Springtown up against Lindale in the semifinal. Springtown will advance. Stephenville, boy, this is the tough. Davenport. I'm gonna go for the upset. Davenport will upset Stephenville just because, the percentages as well. And then my state champion for next year is going to be a new name, and that will be the Porcupines of Springtown.
That's who I'm going with.
Oh, didn't mean
thought
to bring your
surprise.
thunder. Plus, I just love going to their stadium as well.
Oh, I love that
And,
place.
Pojo.
That
Pines.
area, North Texas, is a lot of fun. So, hey, it's their turn.
I always joke.
Kevin, you and I went to that Bells playoff game in Springtown a few years ago.
You know what
remember
would be
that?
the most apropos matchup? Springtown versus Kilgore, because they mirror each other. Those are the two.
Googling
Those are
apropos.
the two
What does that
teams.
mean?
2 towns. I always joke that those are the 2 towns you go to when you want to get in a fight at a bar. It's Kilgore and Springtown. All right, Springtown and Lindale. Give me Springtown. Stephenville and LBJ. Give me LBJ. Look, it's really hard to repeat. It's hard. And LBJ, they're going to get revenge. We were just talking about that state championship game. So you would have one of the most, no one saw it coming, Springtown versus LBJ, and give me the Porcupines. I think Cane Hill rides out with a state championship with those linebackers and that defense. And again, you don't want to get into a physical fight with Springtown.
It does. Coach X have anything to say on?
He just did an overarching thing. I'm going to read it in the intro.
So
what a loser.
I think Terry and Grant, we will find out in week 1 of several of these teams that we've just discussed. We will get kind of a barometer to them. We got Springtown going to Brock.
Oh, that's going to be a matchup
dude.
right there. They've been
That's
scrimmaging.
week 1.
Yeah, week 1. They've
Week
been
1.
scrimmaging for years, so they
Yeah.
know each other.
We've got Kilgore at Pleasant Grove. And we got Midlothian Heritage now moving at Stephenville.
Stephenville knows how to play Heritage.
And well, yeah, but they have a nice little rivalry budding there.
And it is another one. It's a mismatch as far as classifications. But West Plains is playing Wall, and I believe that's a neutral site game.
Wall might beat them.
Yeah, exactly what I'm saying. It might tell us more about Wall than West Plains.
All right, that's going to do it for the Big Arse Preview Show here on Sideline to Sideline, part of L4 Media. We're on YouTube at L4 Media Company. You can find us on Facebook. Just type in Sideline to Sideline, or on Twitter at Grant and Terry. You can email us, grantandterry@s2ssport.com. And yes, we will be back on video, as I said in the open, week 2. Again, we don't do a show week 1. We let these marinate across the first week of the season. Coaches shows will be there week 1. Regional shows will start week 2. And we're ready to do all those. Also, don't forget, we have our pro and college side, Outdrink the Coverage. Kevin and Grant are going to be joining me and intern Noe the Pro on some of those as well, so be looking forward to them. We're ready for this 2026 football season. Appreciate the patience in the weird off season, but we're back going now, and we're ready to have some fun. So until next time, I'm Terry Bennett, and this has been the Big Arse Preview Show, sideline to sideline style on L4 Media.